Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're taking a first look at a brand new Pokemon in the world of Pokemon Go, BARRASKEWDA. BARRASKEWDA has absurdly high attack. This Pokemon is almost identical in stats to Haunter. It's a mono water type with a great moveset of Peck, Aqua Jet, and Close Combat. Now these battles were submitted to the channel by a regional champion, Caspian Pike, so many thanks for the battle submission. Now BARRASKEWDA, it's way too glassy to have any kind of meaningful play, but Caspian is such an absurdly gifted player that he's somehow able to go positive in the 3200s with BARRASKEWDA. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, and let's go BARRASKEWDA. Hopping to the first match, picking up a pretty decent lead, Clodsire into Tinkaton. Tinkaton will be able to outpace, make it into the Gigaton Hammer, but Caspian's already switching out and catching the Gigaton onto Dondozo. Tinkaton going to be staying in this matchup, banking a ton of energy, and then out comes Pachirisu. Pachirisu, obviously a Pokemon that has to be baited out here. This is an ABB team with two water types in the back, and Dondozo is actually able to get some pretty nice chip damage onto the Pachirisu. Dondozo fires off another Surf. Pachirisu is going to be no shielding. Switch timer's up, and Caspian's able to switch back into the Clodsire to catch the Thunder Punch from Pachirisu. Pachirisu stuck in a very negative matchup. They're forced to unload all of their energy here. Thunder Punch is going to land. They pivot out, clocks up, and in comes Marowak. This is a pretty bad matchup for Clodsire, but the switch timers are very heavily misaligned. Clodsire just going to fire the Stone Edge. This will not take the knockout, but will put the Marowak critically low. Marowak will actually invest a Protect Shield. Switch timers up once again. Caspian just absolutely dancing around his opponent. And now it's time for the glassiest fist you've ever seen, BARRASKEWDA, to hit the field. Marowak will fire off the Bone Club. BARRASKEWDA has to shield everything. Switch timer's up. In comes Pachirisu. But before it can land a Volt Switch, Aqua Jet is available. Aqua Jet will KO the Pachirisu. That's finally been KO'd. Back in comes the Tinkaton. Tinkaton did rebank a bunch of energy against Dondozo earlier. The shield comes up. They full send the Gigaton. He's going to bank the Aqua Jet and pivot into Clodsire. Clodsire racing to the Earthquake. Not quite able to get there, as Tinkaton will settle for the Bulldoze. But Bulldoze, it does get the debuff, but what it does not do is take the knockout. Clodsire able to hang on and fire off this Earthquake. Earthquake is going to be shielded up. Tinkaton, can they get the farm down? No, they pivot out and snipe with the Marowak. BARRASKEWDA gets the farm down, has the Close Combat. It's going to be a charge deck priority tie. Can Close Combat KO the Tinkaton here? Close Combat takes the knockout. What an insanely well played game from Caspian, as he's able to get the game 1 win. We move to game number 2, picking up a pretty nice lead, Clodsire into the Ninetales. But opponent safe switches into Shadow Celio, and unfortunately the path is not so clear. Shadow Celio is pretty strong into this entire team. Caspian just gonna stay in, grab a shield with Stone Edge, and no shield as the Celio fires off Surf. Now that Celio doesn't have a lot of residual energy, in comes BARRASKEWDA. BARRASKEWDA will be able to easily pick up a one-hit KO with Close Combat, but even just these resisted Powder Snows are shredding through BARRASKEWDA's health bar. BARRASKEWDA is going to be double shielding here as Celio fires off the back-to-back body slams. Switch clock will be up momentarily as well. BARRASKEWDA not going to risk an Aqua Jet, not taking the knockout here, so just going to full send the Close Combat. Close Combat is going to land, taking the KO. Back in comes the Ninetales, instantly answered with the Aqua Jet. Aqua Jet is going to connect, picking up a one-hit KO. In the back is a Shadow Walrein, and this is going to be a very tough game to win. Because Shadow Walrein has access to Earthquake, and Shadow Earthquake is going to do a lot of damage even onto a bulky Pokemon like Dondozo. Earthquake connects, Dondozo will opt for the Surf bait. This will allow Dondozo to save a little bit of energy. Walrein does fall for the bait, the shield does come up, Walrein is going to be forced to throw. They weren't quite aware of Dondozo residuals, they could have done one extra Powder Snow, but now the game comes down to this. Caspian is getting outpaced, he needs a catch. In comes BARRASKEWDA farming up. There's the catch. In comes the Clodsire, and Caspian is just absolutely unstoppable. Icicle Spear is going to be undercharged, but it's not going to matter. BARRASKEWDA gets to the Close Combat, and this is just massive overkill, knocking out the Walrein, and that's a good game. We move to game number 3. Clodsire going to be leading into Thievul. This is actually not an amazing matchup. Thievul will have the similar pacing here, making it to Icy Wind as Clodsire makes a Stone Edge. But Clodsire doesn't want the Stone Edge, instead going to tank the Icy Wind and then look to connect with the harder hitting Earthquake. After Earthquake lands, even on -1, it's going to do a decent amount of damage onto Thievul. So Earthquake connects, and in comes Dondozo. Dondozo gonna be chipped down with a Night Slash. This is very okay. Dondozo is monstrously bulky. Night Slash lands. Dondozo not worried whatsoever, but the opponent brings out Tinkaton. This is by no means an answer to a Dondozo save switch. Dondozo is able to inflict some pretty nice neutral damage in this matchup, and a Gigaton Hammer, I just simply don't buy it taking the knockout here. They go for the Gigaton, yeah, that's just not gonna cut it. Dondozo way too bulky, and it's able to make Surf number 2. This Surf is gonna connect. Gigaton gets farmed down, and they just got crushed by the Dozo. In comes BARRASKEWDA, opponent pivots out, and their final Pokemon in the back is going to be revealed to be Seismitoad. Seismitoad will take some pretty significant damage from Aqua Jet. Seismitoad almost assuredly going for the Icy Wind bait here, but we see how much damage even just these mud shots are doing. BARRASKEWDA is getting absolutely eaten alive here. BARRASKEWDA going to farm up to the close combat bait with the Aqua Jet, able to get the shield, and now all Protect shields are down. BARRASKEWDA is going to be at -2 attack after these Icy Winds, though. BARRASKEWDA is going to farm up a ton of energy, go for the catch, does not get it. Opponent keeps farming, but the Dondozo, it's too bulky. It gets to the Surf. Surf KOs the Seismitoad, and there is a close combat stored on the BARRASKEWDA. Oh, BARRASKEWDA ends up just going for the Aqua Jet. The close combat probably would have KO'd like 2 entire Thievals there, but they had almost no HP, so either charge stack still going to take the win. We move to the next match, Clodsire into Corsola. Clodsire is able to win the zeros here, but if you're running a hard ABB team like this, then typically, even in neutral leads, you are going to have to pivot out at some point. Earthquake is going to get shielded by the opponent, and there's the save switch as in comes the Dozo. Opponent doesn't really know what to do against Dondozo. They stay in, they fire off a Nightshade. Dondozo does not care whatsoever, and they are not switching. They're throwing all of their energy onto Dondozo. I wonder if they could be a little bit weak to water damage in the back if this is what they're doing, and Dondozo is just going to try and lock in big damage with an Outrage, and the opponent catches onto their own Dondozo. This might be the best day in the Go Battle League history. Dondozo versus Dondozo. A Surf is banked, and in comes BARRASKEWDA. BARRASKEWDA is going to respect the potential Outrage. Dondozo able to get away with a diabolical Surf bait. After seeing how bulky Dondozo is, Aqua Jet is just not going to cut it. BARRASKEWDA full sends close combat, and Dondozo will be KO'd. There is still energy stored on the Corsola, and Corsola is just able to outpace. BARRASKEWDA is just going to be no shielding, getting KO'd. There is still energy on the Dondozo. The Dondozo has a Surf, and the Clodsire has some energy as well. Timer counts down. In comes the Dozo, able to make the Outrage. This Outrage I don't think will knock out, but will do some very nice damage onto the Corsola. In comes the Clodsire, and the reveal, it's going to be a Shadow Annihilate in the back. It's on counter, and this game should be over. Clodsire used to not be able to actually take the knockout here, but with the Earthquake buff this season, the extra damage is actually very beneficial for the Clodsire. So Clodsire can just shield up the Ice Punch, make it to the Earthquake, and Annihilate. There's just nothing they can do. The Annihilate is not going to be surviving here. Earthquake is going to connect. Annihilate gets KO'd. Back in comes the Corsola. Corsola is getting farmed down, and oh my goodness, he just keeps finding ways to win these games. Well, there's a very familiar lead in the next match. Clodsire into Thievul once again. I imagine we'll see a very similar play pattern. Tank the Icy Wind, fire off the Earthquake, and then save switch into the Dozo. Icy Wind lands onto the Clodsire. There's the Earthquake. So far, deja vu. And then we should see the switch into Dondozo. Dondozo will hit the field. Last time the Thievul ended up throwing the energy. This time they're going to bank it, but they still bring in Tinkaton. Oh my goodness, people are just not prepared for Dondozo whatsoever. Surf is going to land, and because there was no Night Slash chip, I mean, this Gigaton Hammer is just going to do absolutely nothing onto Dondozo. Oh, they actually go for the Bulldoze bait, fishing for the debuff, but they actually get the debuff. Could this potentially swing things for the opponent? Surf will land, getting the Tinkaton low. He's going to pivot out, saving the Dondozo, and bringing in the Clodsire. Clodsire, tough call to make here. No shields, Gigaton Hammer connects, and that is going to be the end of the Clodsire. This could set up some pretty nice farm, though the Tink is very low. In comes Dondozo, opponent's going to pivot out, and their final Pokemon in the back is going to be Mantine. That's obviously not what you want to see when you have a BARRASKEWDA on the team. Twister is going to land, reaching for the Outrage, able to get there. This Outrage landing could potentially set up a Peck farm down. Outrage will be shielded. Oh, this is going to be really tough for BARRASKEWDA. Opponent still has all 3 Pokemon left alive in the back. This might be a little bit too much for BARRASKEWDA. These Pecks are continuing to add up, but the Twister damage, the wing attacks, it's just way too much. BARRASKEWDA, no shields, almost gets one shot, Back in comes the Thievul. He's going to click close combat. He knows there's just no way out. The Thievul could have made a move, so that's why he couldn't end up shielding the Twister. But poor Dondozo is just going to get fully wing attack down, and the opponent is going to be able to take that game. We move to the next match, Clodsire into Shadow Kanto Ninetales, a very nice lead. The Ninetales not pivoting out right away. Clodsire does do very, very well here, although they should be able to make the triple Weather Ball on the CMP tie to the second Stone Edge. So we could potentially consider playing out the matchup and then maybe trying to catch the third Weather Ball onto the Dondozo, but the opponent obviously could try and watch for that play. So the opponent is now doubled up on Weather Balls. He now has the Stone Edge. Will he try and go for the catch here? Weather Ball is going to land, and he goes for the catch. That is such a well thought out play pattern there. Weather Ball going to be doing nothing onto the Dozo, and they can't really stay in. They'll get shredded by the waterfalls, so they're forced to pivot out and bring in the Shadow Celio. Shadow Celio, the name of the game is Body Slam Spam. Body Slam will actually add up on the Dondozo. Shadow Celio hits quite hard, but this Outrage is going to leave a serious dent. Outrage connects, big damage onto the Celio. I don't think Dondozo is in a range where Body Slam can take the knockout though. Body Slam will land, Dondozo able to hang on, and in comes BARRASKEWDA. BARRASKEWDA immediately under threat from the Body Slam. Would love if it could get a full farm down, but it cannot. Switch timer's up, and in comes Tinkaton. BARRASKEWDA gonna lock in the Aqua Jet. This will do some nice damage onto the Tinkaton. Aqua Jet is a clean 2-hit KO. BARRASKEWDA will put up the shield, respecting the Gigaton Hammer, but the opponent's just gonna go for the Bulldoze. Bulldoze does not get the debuff, but BARRASKEWDA will be able to play to the CMP tie. At 159 attack, BARRASKEWDA is gonna be winning charge attack priority over everything. Opponent does end up no shielding. Oh, they try for the catch, but he's too patient. Caspian Pike, oh my goodness. They tried for the catch, but he just was never going to let that happen. The Clodsire still has the Stone Edge as well, which means that the Claude can just get brought in here and win the game. Opponent knows it. They resign the match. Insane patience from Caspian. What a well-played game. We move to the next match, picking up a pretty awkward lead, Clodsire into Mantine. Even though Clodsire can hit for super effective with Stone Edge, Mantine has identical pacing and wins charge attack priority, so Mantine will always be able to control the matchup on even energy. The Stone Edge does connect for some pretty nice damage, and Caspian will shield up the Water Pulse. He could look to try and go for the catch here, and he does! The Clodsire is preserved, the energy is saved, and the Water Pulse is wasted on the Dondozo. The opponent's gonna pivot out, they send in a Shadow Annihilate. Shadow Annihilate fires off the Rage Fist, but this is never going to be knocking out Dondozo. So they're just looking to boost up and go for the farm down, but they're going to have to give up a shield to do so. Dondozo will make the surf. This is obviously going to be shielded up. Opponent knows they are trying to ramp up this Annihilate as much as possible. In comes the BARRASKEWDA. These pecs do quite a bit, but oh my goodness, these counters. BARRASKEWDA is getting eaten alive. The Annihilate's now at +2. They pivot out. The final Pokemon in the back is going to be Tinkaton. BARRASKEWDA is going to farm up and launch Aqua Jet right before their 7th Fairy Wind. The switch saving the BARRASKEWDA. In comes Clodsire. Tinkaton did go for the Bulldoze, and Bulldoze does not get the debuff. Oh my goodness, going to go for a diabolical Stone Edge bait here, counting on the opponent to put up the shield. They do put up the shield, and that's going to force this Tinkaton to fire off energy. But Gigaton Hammer, I don't believe will take the knockout here. Timer will be up for the opponent. He goes for the Stone Edge, predicting the catch, and he's going to go for another charge. He doesn't want to take the knockout. He wants the farm. BARRASKEWDA snipes down, and BARRASKEWDA now has the Aqua Jet loaded. BARRASKEWDA, I think, can actually win this game. In comes the Mantine. The energy is resisted, but he doubles up on Aqua Jets, and that is going to seal it. There were so many points in this game where it looked over, but somehow, with insane energy management, the catches, the bait calls, the undercharges, the gameplay is perfect, and that game is a win. We move to the final match, and it feels like deja vu as Clodsire leads into Mantine 1 final time. As always, the name of the game will be getting damage on the Mantine. This backline doesn't really like dealing with Mantine, so the fact that the opponent actually puts up the shield there is definitely not ideal. That kind of throws a wrench into the game plan of landing the Stone Edge, shielding, and going for the catch onto Dondozo, because Dondozo cannot afford to deal with a full health Mantine. So instead, Clodsire is just going to stay in. CMP tie, no shield the Water Pulse to try and entice the opponent into no shielding as well. The moment they no shield, it's Dondozo time, but it's not going to be Dondozo time yet, as they will put up the shield. Mantine is going to win charge attack priority against the Clodsire. They can even just go for a Twister here, but the important thing is that at long last, finally, Mantine is going to have to take a Stone Edge. Clodsire lands the Stone Edge. There's the switch, and in comes the Dozo. Dondozo going to look for the full farm down. Opponent's going to bank energy and send out a Bug Bite Fortress. But they gave Dondozo way too much of an energy head start. Dondozo's able to land the Surf. That's devastating damage. Even as they fire off the Rock Tomb, Dondozo is just not going to care. The one worrisome thing is the fact that there's a Barraskewda on this team, and there are no Protect Shields for Barraskewda to hide behind. And Barraskewda has Haunter level bulk, so it's going to be deleted by just about anything. In the back is Diggersby. Dondozo going to bank the Surf and pivot out into the Clodsire. Clodsire unable to get the catch, but will still be able to force energy out of the Diggersby. Diggersby fires off the Fire Punch. That's going to be the end of the Clodsire, but importantly, the Surf has had its attack drop reset. Now in comes Barraskewda. Barraskewda about to get absolutely obliterated by the Scorching Sands. No, Barraskewda holds on, but that forces the opponent into switching to the Mantine and going for the combo play. Twister snipes down Barraskewda. In comes Dondozo. Dondozo gets the waterfall down. This is going to be close. Dondozo is so incredibly low. Did Dondozo survive that mud shot? If the answer is yes, the second Surf is available. Dondozo, the MVP, 1 HP and a dream, makes the Surf, KOs the Diggersby, and that is a good game. Now, if you enjoyed watching the battles in today's video, I have some incredibly good news for you. There is more footage of this team. Caspian Pike, today's battler, a regional champion himself, is actually creating his own YouTube channel. I should have a link to his YouTube channel in the pinned comment down below, and at the time of recording, or at least at the time of posting this video anyway, his first video should be out, and it's going to feature a bunch more battles of this team, and him going positive in the 3200s with Barraskewda. Barraskewda, as I mentioned at the start, has absolutely absurd stats. Its stats are almost identical to Haunter. Its attack stat is around 159. That's like 20 more attack than Morpeko, which is already considered to be one of the most attack-weighted Pokemon in the Open Great League. So the fact that he's able to run around with a Pokemon that is 1400 stat product and just play out of his mind and still get wins at 3200 elo. He didn't tank or anything. He's still playing against some of the best players in the world and still just able to outplay them with ease with a Dondozo and a Barraskewda. Shows the insane level of skill he has at this game. When he ended up taking home his first regional win this past spring in Indianapolis, I'll be honest, I was not surprised at all. I was extremely happy for him, but knowing how strong of a player he was, I just said to myself, you know what? That actually checks out. So please do me a favor if you enjoyed this video. Obviously, leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, but make sure you go over to his channel. Give him a like on his video, subscribe to his channel. Let's help a newer Go Battle League YouTuber. Let's go show him some love because he's a truly incredible player. And honestly, these battles speak for themselves. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and an extra special thank you as always to our channel members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide to the channel is so appreciated, so thank you guys so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.